Hey guys, welcome to CalicoRadio Knits. I'm Taryn and this is Mac. So in today's video, we're going to be making a matching sweater for Mac using the leftover yarns from this sweater, which I made in last week's video. It seemed like some of you were interested in seeing me make a matching version, so I decided I would give that a go. It's not going to look exactly the same as this one. I'll use some different color combinations probably, but the same motifs more or less. It's likely going to be a more lower contrast sweater. As you can see, it's more like the mid colors that I have left over. I'm definitely going to use the mushroom and the strawberry, but I'm not sure yet about the moon and the bunny. I'm going to use one or the other. Oh, good boy. I think I'm going to use kind of the classic construction, which I always do, which is a single raglan seam down the front, and it makes it kind of easy to adapt and hopefully in this case to work color work. Let's see. And after I draft up the sweater pattern, we will talk motifs and color combinations. Okay, so as always, we need to get Mac's measurements and gauge. It's 28 centimeters, which is his typical neck measurement. And 45 centimeters, which is also typical. So you have not grown at all, Mac. And for the stitch gauge, it's going to be... Okay, so 14 stitches for 10 centimeters. And for our row gauge, we're going to have 20 rows per 10 centimeters. So that means we have 1.4 stitches per 2 rows in a 1 centimeter squared section. So I'm going to use this measurement here to draft up Mac's sweater. His blanket just came out of the dryer, so he's very satisfied snuggling in the blanket. Okay, so I finished the math for Mac's sweater, and I've come up with this. I divided Mac's sweater into 3 quadrants, which you can see here. I almost always do that. Kind of think of the sweater as being 30 centimeters wide, 10 centimeters for the yoke, 10 for the body, and 10 for the back section. And then usually the ribbing at the neck and the back always adds a couple extra centimeters because I believe Mac is, I think, 40 or 41 centimeters long in total. He's a very long dog. So these 3 quadrants kind of work perfectly for this sweater because we're going to be doing 3 bands of color work. So Mac's sweater is going to kind of look like the sleeve of this sweater, essentially. It's going to be a band of ribbing and then 3 bands of color work and then a little bit of ribbing on the back and on the belly section. Obviously a little bit more to it than just a straight sleeve, but this is kind of the idea of the sweater. So that kind of takes us now to the fun part, which is the color work and picking our motifs and colors. So it is going to be a lower contrast sweater just because we're pretty low on the dark brown and blue colors, but I think I'm still going to make use of both. So we've got the green for the banded section, the blue, white, and a little bit of brown for the mushroom section. So I think for the midsection we're going to do the strawberries because we have a good amount of the pink, the white, and the green. So I think that'll work great for the bigger section of the sweater. And then the last section, I'm not exactly sure if we're going to do the bunnies or the moons. We'll definitely use this as the background color because I want the background colors of each band to be different. If we do the moons, obviously we're going to have to do like a different combination because this is the original moon color. But we could also do like a low contrast bunny with, I don't know, maybe the blue or maybe a green bunny, but I'm not sure yet. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to knit the sweater until the final panel and then see what yarn we have left over and make a call from there. I don't know if you guys can hear him in there, but he is grumbling. So I think I'm going to take a quick break before I actually start knitting the sweater, make some lunch, take Mac on a walk, and I'll catch back up with you guys this afternoon once I actually cast on the sweater. Hey guys, it is the next day and I wanted to show you guys my progress from last night before I finish the entire thing because it has really flown off the needles. I put it on a stitch holder so then I could try it on Mac. I didn't really need to try it on Mac, but I was just curious to see what it looked like because it was turning out super cute. I haven't woven any of the ends yet, so there were a lot of bits sticking out and he still did really well when I tried it on him. I did make a couple adjustments from our original plan. First big thing I changed was I ended up doing 4 repeats for this first section instead of 3 for the mushroom. I had originally planned 3, but 4 ended up fitting, and I was really happy about that because I didn't really want this big empty blue section where the raglan stitch was worked. So that looks really nice. And the last thing I did was I did a couple of decreases here at the back. You really can't tell too much, but it just was looking like such a dense fabric. I was afraid it was going to hang really low on Mac. So before working the ribbing here, I did a couple of decreases. And I did work a couple of extra rounds of the white to kind of account for the ribbing, so then it didn't eat into the strawberry motif right here. I'm really happy with the progress so far, but now we have to decide what to do for the back section. Because I am not using as many dark colors on Mac's sweater, it's really giving me Easter or like spring vibes. So I definitely want to keep to that kind of spring look. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this sage kind of yellowy green color as the background color, and then I think I'm going to do blue for the bunny. So it's definitely going to be very low contrast, but I really don't have any other option because this is pretty much all I have left over. And I was thinking about doing a pink bunny, but I already used so much pink for the strawberry, so I think it'd be nice to use blue to kind of tie in the last panel with the first panel. So the last thing I forgot to consider is that this last section has to be worked flat, so let's see how that goes. I plan to use a built-in I-cord along the edges, and that's essentially double stockinette worked 3 stitches on either side, and that hopefully will give me a little bit of wiggle room, so if I have any tension issues, it's not super visible, but let's see how it goes. Hey guys, welcome back. The sweater is done. I'm excited to show you guys the finished product. It did take a couple days to dry, but I am super happy with the finished product. I ended up doing a little crochet edge around the armholes, and the bunnies did turn out pretty low contrast, which I kind of expected, and that's definitely fine. I actually kind of wish that the first section with the mushrooms was more low contrast now to kind of go with the rest of the sweater. I wish I had used a lighter brown, like kind of like this brown here. I think it would have been nice if the mushrooms were also low contrast, but that's definitely fine. I like how it turned out overall. Also, I really enjoyed working with straight needles for the last section. I thought I wouldn't enjoy doing the color work back and forth, but the straight needles made it very easy, and also kind of a fun fact, but those knitting needles were actually my grandmother's, and those were the first needles I learned how to knit on actually. So she gave me those needles maybe 24 years ago, and probably most of the projects I've knit to date were knit on those needles. So that was very cool to use those needles again and kind of think back about older scarves and things like that that I used to knit, especially when I was a kid. So that was nice. And it definitely made working the intarsia way easier as well. Overall, I was very happy with how the sweater turned out. Mac is actually asleep somewhere back here if you can see one of these bumps, but I did try it on him earlier and we did take it for a little bit of a test ride. So overall it definitely seems like Mac enjoys the sweater, especially that woolly smell. So I think we're gonna get a lot of great use out of it for those kind of chillier spring walks. Thanks so much for coming along guys, as always. I really appreciate you guys sticking around till the end here and kind of listening to me ramble on. Thanks so much for the motivation and the support from last week's video in the comment section. A lot of you guys mentioned that you would love to see this sweater get worked up. So that was a great extra kind of push and motivation to cast this on, and I'm so happy I did. It really is cute. I hope you guys have a good rest of your week or weekend, depending on when you're watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.